Biology is the study of life. Biological systems are the most complex systems on Earth. However, biological systems do not represent a new form of matter, neither are they determined by new natural laws. The function of living things can be explained by the laws of physics and chemistry. Biology is the meeting point of all the natural sciences. Life results from a complex interaction of physical and chemical processes. The fact that biology does not imply the creation of new laws makes defining life difficult. Biologists have identified 7 characteristics that are shared by living systems. First, cellular organization. All living things are composed of at least one cell, and cells are the basic unit of life. Living things are highly organized and complex. Living things also have the capacity or the sensitivity to respond to different types of stimuli. Living things have the capacity for growth, development, and reproduction. Reproduction meaning that all living things come from another living thing. And living things are capable of passing the inheritance material of the DNA from one generation to the next. Living things also require the utilization of energy, as they need energy for performing multiple tasks, as well as to maintain their complex organization. Living things also are capable of maintaining homeostasis. Homeostasis is maintaining internal characteristics or internal conditions that are different from those of the external environment. This is something that we do, for example, we maintain a temperature that is different from that of our surrounding environment. And even a single cell, such as a bacterium, maintains homeostasis. It maintains a concentration of ions and molecules inside of its cellular membrane that differ from those of the external environment. Living things also have the capacity to adapt and evolve to adapt to the conditions of the environment they inhabit. Biological systems are organized in a hierarchical way. Each level builds on the level below it, and as we move up the hierarchy, novel properties emerge. Emerging properties result from the interaction of the components and not just the summation of the individual parts. For example, when we look at the hierarchy at the cellular level, we start with individual atoms, and atoms have specific characteristics. When atoms combine and form molecules, these molecules will have the properties that are related to the atoms that compose them, but they will be capable of doing new activities and new functions that are not just the summation of the atoms that make them. These are new, novel, emergent properties. Molecules aggregate in macromolecules. Multiple macromolecules then form organelles, and organelles then form cells. Then again, looking at the emergent properties, the function of the properties of a cell are more than just the function of the individual organelles that form them. They can perform more tasks than just the summation of the tasks that single organelles can do. At the organismal level, organisms that are composed of more than one cell can have tissues, and tissues are performed by the aggregation of cells, of similar cells that do a particular function. Then the aggregation of multiple tissues that work as a functional unit is what conforms an organ. Organs that work together form organ systems, and individual organisms are composed of multiple organ systems. Now in the next level, in the population level, a group of organisms of the same type forms a population. And this is a group of organisms living in the same area. When you look at the different populations of the same type of organisms in the globe, now you can talk of the species. Different species that live together in the same area form a community. And when you take into account the community and the environment that they inhabit, now you can talk about the ecosystem. And when we look at all the ecosystems in the world, now we can talk about the biosphere. Biology is a broad field comprised of multiple subdisciplines, ranging from biochemistry, molecular biology, to ecology. However, there are common themes that are shared by all of these fields and all these subdisciplines in biology. These unifying themes are, for example, cell theory. Cell theory states that cells are the basic unit of life, and every cell comes from another cell. This has implications for how you develop multicellular organisms or coming from just one single cell, and also how organisms reproduce. The central dogma, which states that DNA is the basic unit of inheritance and is the one that has all the instructions, so to speak, of how to build an organism. However, for this DNA to be expressed into a phenotype, it first needs to be transcribed into messenger RNA. That messenger RNA then needs to be translated into protein. And proteins are the ones ultimately responsible for producing the phenotype that we observe. The next one is the relationship between structure and function. This is, for example, in a protein. The function of a protein is greatly determined by the structure of this protein. This is important because once we know what type of structure is associated with a particular function, then we can predict the function of new proteins as we discover them once we know the structure that they have. And the last one is that everything in biology needs to be understood in the light of evolution. Evolution is the force that is shaping the diversity of life that we see. And these forms can be explained, can be understood by the evolutionary forces that are shaping them.